The world of MMA always has something interesting to offer its fan base. From epic matches like Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, Mirko Cro Cop versus Wanderlei Silva, currently Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns, and so on. Epic fights that put the best of the best against each other in an ultimate showdown that tests their skills, will, and heart. But today's not about that. Because while these are matches that everyone was waiting to see, MMA sometimes decides to put forth the weirdest, most unlikely, and most unexpected matches that never even crossed your mind. Hello and welcome back to SBTB, and today we'll be going over the weirdest MMA matchups. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel along with hitting the bell icon in order to be notified every time we release a new video. Now, let's see what crazy surprises the world of MMA has in store for us. 3, 2, 1, fight! Usually the craziest fights happen in the UFC, but there's one event that took that statement and double leg slammed it to the ground. Now, no one knows exactly what they were thinking when they did this, but Epic Fighting Championship did a whole event of weird fights that had various viral internet sensations fight one another. Even though the event was clearly meant purely for entertainment, the matches were still official, and the fighters gained the privilege of having a record. This event alone was more than enough to make a video about, but the world of MMA breeds crazy matches, even without planning. Even so, there's no way to make a video about weird fights and not include this event. Mini Hulk versus the Drunken Master. Starting off with, we have the Mini Hulk versus the Drunken Master. This little fight, no pun intended, features a man with dwarfism called the Mini Hulk who actually deserves a ton of respect for looking better than 90% of the people that don't have his condition. He's up against Sonya the Bull, who is an old stick man that can barely stand up, let alone fight. Now, many would say that it's not fair, having a full-grown man against a man with dwarfism. But in this case, the full-grown man has a center of gravity almost as weak as he is. He's seen wailing around even before the fight, and it's pretty clear he's an alcoholic just by looking at his face. On the other hand, Mini Hulk turned out to be quite the powerhouse when you put him in the cage. He starts off the fight by literally picking his opponent up and slamming him on the ground with sheer muscle power alone. He then proceeds to blast the Drunken Master with various takedowns and ground and pound until he finally finished the fight with a rear naked choke in the second round. The thing with this fight is that Mini Hulk actually displayed some real MMA skill here. Because of this, there was plenty of talk among promotion games about making a sort of para-MMA division for little guys with big hearts. This was of course met with tons of criticism and didn't happen, but the thought was mentioned. Just goes to show how crazy things can really get. Now, on to the next fight. 2-on-1. Or is it? This is where professional mixed martial arts turned into an episode of the WWE. We've already seen some really crazy stuff happen in the UFC, but this Russian duel, or triple threat in this case, is something else. Now, I don't know what they were thinking, but at some point, someone definitely said the words, "What could go wrong?" Aside from the fact that putting 2 against 1 is arguably the most unfair thing someone has ever done in the Octagon, this triple threat turned into a full-on Royal Rumble, having everyone from the teams of all 3 fighters jump in on the fun. It started with one guy not being okay with the unfairness and knocking the duo, which led to a swarm of team members, coaches, judges, and everyone ever to get inside the Octagon and dish out a couple of techniques. This is arguably the craziest match ever in MMA, simply because it turned into an all-out war, and we sure loved watching it. Guess Epic Fighting Championship knew what they were doing, at least in the money-making aspect of it, because the video went crazy viral and surely got some numbers in for them. Whatever the case, at least it's good entertainment. Hasbulla versus Abdu Rozak. Stepping away from the EFC for a moment, in May 2021, a new internet sensation was born. His name is Hasbulla Nurmagomedov, or as many like to call him, Mini Khabib. Hasbulla literally exploded after the video of the stare-down between him and Abdu Rozak. The 2 little guys were literally going to eat each other up at the press conference. The 2 have started multiple fights at other events and even started fighting at the UFC once. If you can start a fight outside of the octagon and get the attention of the crowd even while there's a fight going on, then you must be something special. While the two never had an official released fight, it said that they did have a proper fight, but it wasn't recorded. Even so, the two have had plenty of quarrels, and it's just the cutest thing ever. While it wasn't an official fight, it was bred by the love of MMA and the warrior hearts of these two fellas. Superhero Showdown. Batman, Robin, and the Riddler versus Spider-Man. Another crazy event had Batman and Robin fight Spider-Man. Now, this isn't the first time people have done costume fighting, and it definitely won't be the last. The thing here is that Spider-Man is the only legit fighter in the fight, and the other two are just there for some reason. Maybe the other fighters just got injured, and some guys just took their place. Whatever the case may be, Batman looks like a scrawny chopstick, and Robin's complete like a skill had him injured in the first few moments of the fight. But when all was looking grim for DC, an unexpected ally came forth, in the face of the Riddler. We count this as a fight simply because Spider-Man shows some actual kickboxing combos, and the guy who was the Riddler actually manages to do a legit takedown. Granted, a movie battle between these would be 10 times more interesting, but since this is the best we've got, let's just roll with it. Synthol Guy versus Oleg Mongol. And last but not least, coming back to Epic FC, we have Synthol Man versus Mongol. Now, Synthol Man is a weird breed. He's entered nearly every competition and lost every single one. He was in the slapping championship against longtime champion Vasily Kalmatsky. Yes, that's a thing. He was in an arm wrestling match with a professional arm wrestler called Vadim Akbarov. And of course, the one we'll be going over today is his official MMA bout against Oleg Mongol. Synthol Guy even got an actual MMA nickname for the fight, Ricky Bazuki, which translated means bazooka hands. Looks fitting, right? Well, it turns out that other than the fact that Bazooka's hands are arguably the best nickname in MMA, Synthol's arms don't really gain any power at all, and he completely gets demolished everywhere he goes. On the other hand, before the fight, Mongol wasn't doing too bright either, with his only win being against his wife in the hallway. He's one of those people that got famous just because of their looks, and no one took him seriously at the beginning. That being said, he was actually training hard for the fight and took it seriously, unlike Mr. Bazooka, and that resulted in Synthol Guy keeping a streak of losing every competition he ever enters. He lost pretty embarrassingly, getting smacked quite a bit, and losing to a vicious armbar at the end that turned half of his synthol-filled arm purple, proving to the world that big arms aren't everything. And there you have it, fight fans, the weirdest MMA matchups. Just goes to show that some fights are better off not happening. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, bazooka punch that like button so that it can reach more people. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as well as comment down below if you know about any other crazy, weird MMA fights that we didn't mention. With that being said, we'll be leaving you to it, so as always, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.